Only thing is, I've taken a break from directly reporting to a government guy. Maybe you think very differently at the age of 35 than the way you think at the age of 25. And people don't have motivation to do farming, sir. So one way to do is on a mass scale, corporate farming. Look life in a very broad perspective. Because life is a marathon race, it's not a 100-meter race. You have a long time to keep proving what you want to do.
Greetings, dear friends. We have with us our own Singham, Sri Annamalai ji. He was former SP of Udupi, then he took up various roles in different parts of Karnataka. So whenever he comes to Udupi, people of Udupi enjoy talking to him and they relive the days of he being in Udupi. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Today, we will be concentrating more on the educational side of Sri Annamalai. Sir, what I understand is that you, at the age of 22, wrote your UPSC exams. And you cleared it in your first attempt. So, what inspired you to take up UPSC exams?
So for me, I was never interested in UPSC or civil service till I got into my MBA in Lucknow. During my MBA time in Lucknow, I think maybe UP motivated me. During my MBA time, the field visits, the projects that you do, and also the Mumbai attack in November 26, 2008, both motivated me. So I took up the exam in 2010-11, so I got in. I felt going to Lucknow, my perspective about life changed to a major extent. I felt at this young age, we should think more about serving people. We should think more about correcting the systematic inefficiency that is built into our civil society and all those things. So before going to Lucknow, my mindset after engineering was to start a company in Coimbatore. So I always believe the exposure at the right age makes a lot of difference, especially in the field of education.
So, once you took up your police job, people were happy with your job. All of them were happy. And during our earlier interaction, you told me that you are quitting the job because there is something called as a compassion fatigue. So, can you tell me what made you to quit the job?
So you were like, people were happy. I was also happy with how I was performing. But I felt maybe you think very differently at the age of 35 than the way you think at the age of 25. At 35, I've become 35 now. My thinking is more about can I get into policy making more? Can I get into bringing that systematic reforms inside? Because what happens, civil service can only offer you that much. You are a servant of the government, and the postings is not in your control. You keep performing to your ability. They keep changing you. So police also what happens, it's a high intensive job, sir. You keep meeting people day in and day out. I felt as a ASP I'm meeting the same set of people. As DCP also I'm meeting the same set of people, meaning the same set of complaints about husband beating wife, about somebody not giving you the money back and all those things. So over a point of time, the so-called compassion fatigue that you mentioned is when you are in high performance job, you need to take that break a bit. 5 years, you go out, get into academics, study something, do some other role, again get back into government. For me, though I have resigned, but I still believe that I am a part of the public service, but in a different way. Now I do my own public service back home, and we try and do an NGO now, which we are about to launch in the next 2-3 weeks, and we try and motivate youth to do what they want. Meaning, we try and develop them to be good leaders, and probably I might get to do something with the government also, maybe in the near future, maybe a year from now. So it's a continuity, sir. Only thing is, I've taken a break from directly reporting to a government guy and doing that.
So, I understand that even if you quit the IPS job, government can call you back at any time since you are an IPS. Is there any chance that we see another Ajit Doval in you?
No, sir. Now that is all very highly technical people. Dovalji and other people are like they put in their 30-35 years in the government, and now they are in some other roles. But I believe each of us have got our own unique role. We can play our own unique role in a government setup. We can be advisors. We can get into politics. We can do a number of things. But the problem in India is the policy making field is slightly immature. We haven't fully explored the whole gamut of public policy, gamut of politics, gamut of serving the government. I think we'll find our own roles in the near future, sir.
Since you are a mechanical engineer, you have IIM, MBA from IIM, and so on, I would like to ask about the new education policy that is being planned. So, there is one proposal that they are planning to have a national academic credit bank where a student can study in various colleges and deposit his credits in a national repository. And again, 1 year, once he earns a minimum credit, he gets a degree.
Correct.
So, what's your opinion on this? What will be the success
Which
rate?
has to be welcomed, sir, for sure. Because now I have also felt during my engineering time that though I am sitting in some class, I would like to go to that class and study. And probably I might like to go to sit in economics class and study. Now, what happened? Our education system has become very regimented, where I don't have much options to play around with my subjects, except the so-called credit things. Now, if there is a provision for me to take up a course in some college where there's a reputed professor or a great guy, probably some other course within the college in some other department which is not connected to me, then overall, finally, if you can assemble all those courses and give you some kind of a degree, I think it will be welcome. Because if I can quote Steve Jobs, Steve Jobs went to college for quite a bit of time before he dropped out. He enrolled himself in some course, but one day while crossing the corridor, I think Emory College, while crossing the corridor, he found the calligraphy class was very interesting. He went into calligraphy, sat there, though it is nothing connected to his original degree. But the original Apple is known for its calligraphy, the fonts and old design. And Steve Jobs says maybe my accidentally bumping into that calligraphy class made all the difference for Apple. So likewise, I think if we can intentionally create that disturbance in the education system, the country will prosper, sir.
So you are also planning to start a leadership institute of a kind. So what are your visions or a vision for that?
Sir, we are planning to do something called We the Leaders Foundation. It's more like a foundation model. We want to get into skilling. We want to get into developing leaders in terms of having a good dialogue or conversation with them. So the two motive points we have. And we want to do with a sense of volunteers. The first one is more about we want to pick up people, give them skills, communication, critical thinking skills, and so that they can go out in this world and do what they really want. They can be small-time entrepreneurs. They can do something else. A rural guy can aspire to go to Bangalore and get a job. Part A. Part B is the innermost fear actually allows us not to do things that we really want. We want to break that through a series of conversation. The part B of the foundation, the vision we have is, can we create more leaders? Society, the problem is that the leadership is not there at the local level, in the middle level. Top level, we have so-called leaders, but country cannot prosper if we push leadership into all levels. We want even a farmer to think like a leader. We want even a student to think like a leader. So when this happens at the ground level, I think the country will really accelerate its growth, sir. So that is the second part. That's the vision.
Sir, now do you think that we will also be training our legislators, our councillors, and so on in your institute, or is it for a common man?
Sir, this foundation, this more like foundation where through volunteers we want to do it. Anybody can be a volunteer, sir. If at all is interested in exploring his skill set, exploring his mindset, looking at leadership in a much different way in a society, anybody is most welcome to join. Can be a counselor, can be a non-political guy. But we want to run the foundation to be apolitical. Anybody can come and join. We are working on the modalities and the fine points and everything.
I understand that you are also working on a book. Can you just throw some light on the work?
Sir, this book is called Agents of Change, How a Life in Khaki Unmade Me. Normally you read a lot of police biographies where people will talk about their policing career, fair enough. So this book is slightly different. So it is chaptered in such a way that we are making a lot of people who are behind the scenes, but they've done some heroic work. They can be public, they can be police, but the ordinary men. That is why I call them as agents of change. By interacting with them, they've unmade me. They made me a better human being. So that's why the topic is agents of change. How a life in khaki unmade me. So that how we all have become humble, more grounded. So I thought their stories has to be told. Normally the stories we glorify the police officer, we glorify the leader. But here we want to glorify those 16 guys, 15 guys. Some of them are institutions, some of them are people. So
During your free time, you have taken up farming now, or rather, you have taken up farming, and during your free time, you are doing these things.
Correct.
So, what's your opinion regarding the corporate farming?
now, whatever little I've dabbled in farming now, one thing I can say for sure, the lands are getting very fragmented. The lands are getting small parcels. So at one end, the input that goes into agriculture is also getting very costly. The labors are getting very costly, and people don't have motivation to do farming, sir. The one way to do is on a mass scale, corporate farming. That has to come in. And recently, I think government has got in a lot of the Model Contract Farming Act. They have got in. They have asked for public opinion. The one way is the whole farming sector has to be run like a corporate sector, sir. Meaning the land parcels have to be accumulated so that the so-called factor, land is a factor. Land can be a factor only when the fixed cost you bring down. Fixed cost you will bring down only when the parcel is of huge size. So encourage 4 or 5 farmers to combine, make an entity, do farming together.
So, because among the factors of farming, you have land, you have seeds, you have manure, and other things.
Everything.
Now, the only thing that is under the control of the farmer is land.
Yes.
So, if the corporates take it, is it better, or if it's a cooperative farming where farmers come together and do it, is it better?
Sir,
What's your opinion?
cooperative farming, we are doing it for many number of years. But problem is in cooperative farming, you don't give the right inputs to them, meaning the technology factor, You don't give the right pricing factor to them. Most cooperatives have become political controls now. Some politician take controls of cooperative, they run it. At the same time, if you bring corporate farming with proper regulation, meaning 50% is under my control, 50% is under their control, but with a lot of regulation. Like US, only regulators play a major role. So government doesn't play a major role. Here we allow government to play a major role and regulation takes a backseat. So I am more interested in a corporate farming model, but with huge amount of regulation built in, so that the farmer's interests are protected, not the company's interest. And importantly, it has to be a win-win for both of them. So else the corporates will not put in money.
So, what is your typical day schedule like? You are into farming now,
Correct.
and you also extensively travel. How is your typical day? How do you spend your day?
Typical day, maybe I'll take a typical week, sir. I spend weekends farming, and remaining days I travel between Bangalore and other parts of India. I commit about 8 days a month to travel to give lectures to youths and colleges and other places. Then I have my own book to write. I have my own team to take care so that we can run the foundation in quick time. We can do it in quick time. So now it has become more like hectic because we are doing multiple things now. So there is no ordered timing. So maybe if we take a month, about 8 days to 10 days goes into farming, 10 days goes into traveling, 10 days it goes into running up, and I have to earn my bread and butter also. So I consult for a couple of people in Bangalore. I do a consultation for these young startups, the leaders. So I kind of groom them also. Yes,
So, in a couple of years, where do you see Sri Annamalai?
Uh,
Annamalai as a management trainer, or Annamalai as a politician, or Annamalai as a famous farmer?
I've removed the famous out of the whole equation, sir. It is about right now you are thinking that you can make an impact to this world, and I believe at the second part of my life I should make a dent in the universe. All of us aspire to create the dent in the universe. Whichever field I choose, let God give me an opportunity to create that dent, so that you make a visible difference to a common man's life.
So, wherever you go for talk or public lectures, students are the people who gather to listen to
Correct,
you.
correct.
What would be your message for the young guys or young minds?
The only thing I tell them is many people are so fixated on the present, meaning I have to pass this exam, I have to pass this entrance exam, I have to get into this college. But if when you look at your life backwards, maybe at the age of 45, the age of 40, all of these are very small dots in your life. So since you don't have that larger vision about life, so we are very fixated about that exams and passing and all those things. My only request to you is look life in a very broad perspective. Don't take, yes, take exams very seriously, but don't take it too seriously, because when you take anything too seriously, the pressure of performing will never allow you to perform. There's a very fine line. So take it seriously, but don't take it too seriously. Meaning you give your heart and soul into it, but don't tell that I have to get the 90%. If I don't get it, I'm a failure in life. Because life is a marathon race. It's not a 100-meter race. So you have a long time to keep proving what you want to do. And in this new India also, it is giving you n number of opportunities to create an impact where you want. And any field you can choose. Maybe it's the right field for somebody, maybe it's the wrong field for somebody. But provided you put your heart and soul into that field, you can make an impact. So my short message to them is have bigger dreams, and don't allow this examination marks to define you. Take exams and everything seriously, but don't take it too seriously. And last but not the least, have that larger vision of life, so that daily you have something look forward to in life.
Friends, Sri Annamalai has a flight to catch. In another 5 minutes, he has to leave. Despite his busy schedule,
No
he has
problem.
given us
It's always
time.
a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you
Wish
so
you the
much.
best, sir.